Hello there and welcome to my fairly late review of Battlefield Hardline. Battlefield has always been a very popular shooter, but this last entry in the series, Battlefield 4, didn't help the series one little bit. The launch was pretty bad with terrible servers and a really buggy online, and after a few good months of patches the game was finally fixed. But the series has to get a few things right to get the fans back on board, but is Hardline that game? Let's find out. Hardline swaps a familiar military theme to a cops and robbers theme that's reminiscent of the old 70s and 80s cop shows, and it definitely shows in the campaign. Talking of the campaign, this one is certainly quite different from the one in Battlefield 4. For starters, I can actually make sense of the story, even if it is a little cliche. The story revolves around a cop called Nick Mendoza who has to solve drug problems around the city he is in. With your partner Carl, you meet loads of slimy characters who you'll eventually have to team up with. After terms of events, you end up being double-crossed. Talking about double-crossing, this game takes a biscuit for the amount of times characters do that. Overall, the story isn't that bad, it's certainly serviceable. Think on the similar lines of a big action blockbuster and you'll be on the right lines. Single player missions certainly change a fair bit from 4. Instead of gunning your way all through the goons, the game urges you to use stealth to arrest enemies. You slowly move to an enemy and press the prompt on screen and the enemy will freeze, putting his hands up waiting for you to cuff him. It's incredibly satisfying to pull off a level without pulling the trigger, though it can be quite inaccurate with a guy with a shotgun putting his hands up just because you showed him your badge. This element gets even weirder during the final half of the game when you're not even a cop anymore and the enemies still put their hands up when you show them your badge. Also in the single player, there's a level up system where you can when you arrest enemies, complete missions and find case files, you gain XP to reach higher levels. It's quite fun even though you don't get XP for kills this time with a gun, which is quite weird considering the unlocks for the leveling up is guns. Other things you can look out for in single players are special enemies that net big rewards if you arrest them and not kill them. Also there's case files to collect, and if you collect enough of them you unlock XP rewards and battle packs. Multiplayer now, and first of all the game runs very smoothly with very few glitches and certainly does a better job than 4 did at launch. We do have some new modes to go with the cops and robbers theme. First off we have Heist, which is a payday like mode where you're either a cop or a robber trying to steal or save money from the bank. It's an incredibly fun mode and it certainly is the standout mode for Hardline. Other modes are Blood Money, which is quite similar to Heist but less flashy. And there's also the conquest modes from Battlefield 4 returning, which is always a good thing. Another big mode is Hotwire, which is a fairly fun mode where 2 teams have to nick certain types of cars and drive them around a map. This mode is actually great for XP boosting and cash boosting, even if the maps are a bit too small to drive around, because many a times I've gone off the map. The maps in Hardline are okay, though there aren't many of them, and the maps that are way too small for some modes like Hotwire. And the levolution isn't really that noticeable like it was in 4. The guns in Hardline are dramatically reduced from 4 with a handful of guns for each side. Looking at the list of guns in 4 it was massive, but Hardline it's quite pitiful. Graphics now, and the game certainly looks very nice. Single player looks great, characters look phenomenal with fantastic facial capture. Online maps look a bit basic, but then again with so many players on the battlefield it isn't no surprise. Sound wise the game is pretty good with a mix of good voice acting from the main characters and online characters. The game also includes a licensed soundtrack to search whenever you drive a car. It's certainly quite light and smooth when you're driving for ages in Hotwire mode. Overall I did enjoy Hardline a lot, much more than I did with 4. But is it worth the full retail price of £50? No it isn't. 20 quid standalone DLC would have been a better decision as there isn't much new and it's very similar to 4. Overall, I would give the game a 7 out of 10 and would recommend a price drop before you get it if you're unsure. It's not a bad game, it's just very familiar. Thank you for watching my review. Bye.